Ladies and gentlemen, a little while ago I asked my community to give some suggestions for quality of life things that they would love to see within the game. I figured with it now being March and the next DLC probably being a few months away, using my very YouTube channel to possibly make a good impact on the game for once might be a good idea. And obviously I would highly encourage you to use the comment section in case you want to add some additional things that weren't in this particular video. First and foremost, I probably have like two big ones. The first one being to try to fix that annoying CEO bug within the Doomsday heist. I don't know how exactly it happens, but it happens too often and it makes people leave, especially for those folks who are playing with randoms or just search for a heist to begin with. It's incredibly frustrating and it always results into people leaving because they think that the CEO actually quit when they didn't. The next one is another big one, kind of a two-parter. The ability to search for cars within mechanics and inside of races. At the very least, that's kind of the two things I would love to see. Also in jobs or like heists or whatever, where you can select a vehicle, it will go a massive way. Even if it's something as simple as by being able to sort them by an alphabetic letter, like the letter A or something, so I can find my Ardent or my Adder quicker. It is not something that has to be a massive thing, but if you have a sports class with over 100 vehicles, 30 seconds to go and find your car that you want to use within the race is something that is straight up not fun. Now, before Rockstar get any ideas of, oh well, if that's such an issue, why don't we just increase the timer so you have more time to select your vehicle? No. For the simple reason that people have seemingly been unable to ready up for a job over the last 9 years, so please don't. If anything, shorten the amount of time for the jobs because it takes way too long sometimes for people to ready up, especially in heist. You don't need 5 minutes to make sure your character has the correct outfit. 30 seconds or less and done. Another big thing that people have been suggesting as well is like having one central place to sort out all your garages, rather than having to go to each individual garage, pull out the car, bring it to a different place, etc, etc. Instead, like you have with the business management system within the arcade or something like the Terabyte, where you're just able to say, I want to have this vehicle, go to this garage, that vehicle to that garage, etc, etc. I can see why this might become a bit of an issue due to car duplication glitches, but having dealt with them for the last couple of years, I'm pretty sure Rockstar will be able to figure out a way to not have that turn into a massive money glitch. But even if it does, it will be such a massive quality of life thing because it's a literal nightmare trying to find my Toreador, and I don't want to do another 5 minutes of trying to find the damn thing because I always forget where it is. So at the very least, allow us to search for the cars within the mechanics menu. Because if you add a 50-car garage to the game, you make the problem even worse. The ability to make your character sprint by just simply toggling sprint or simply pressing it just the one time instead of having to constantly tap the sprint button. It's something that's already a thing within Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead Online. I would love it to see it making its way to GTA Online 2. Having to hold down my left stick when using FPS 1 is going to destroy my hand at some point, and having to use FPS 2 or just pressing the X button over and over and over again is just simply rather annoying. It worked really well back in the PS2 games, but nowadays not so much. Speaking of toggling things, the expanded radar. If you ever have used a plane or a helicopter, you can just simply tap your D-pad down twice and you'll be able to just have it open at all times. D4 and D over here is suggesting it to be a permanent thing on the ground as well. It would make total sense, and it also helps a lot actually if you're trying to find a particular thing or you're trying to see an enemy coming. A suggestion for arena points being permanently increased as well. I think that's definitely a massive one. Arena War, if there's one thing that is a massive issue, is that how long it takes to rank it up. The amount of time you'd have to spend, even with double or triple AP, is just way too much. A permanent tenfold, maybe not so much, I have no idea, but yeah, there's definitely a dire need of increasing that amount of AP points by a lot. They managed to do a small quality of life thing with it to the tuners update. It still takes a long time. I would suggest in both cases, both the tuner and the arena, to give it a buff, or at the very least maybe even go as far as lowering the requirements for those certain levels and ranks and stuff. Especially with the tuner and the arena both being reliant on RNG. When you unlock something, it becomes a bit of a headache. A fellow partner in crime, Gtamen, just straight up wants the orbital cannon to be removed. I think that's been something that people have been screaming out for the longest time. I don't think they'll remove it outright to stay realistic, but if anything, maybe make it less appealing to use, or increase the cooldown, or at the very least fix the bugs that will get rid of the cooldown or the exploits or whatever people are using to keep spamming it. Maybe an increase in price to use it might make it a whole lot less appealing to use. A suggestion by Cloud Striker over here for solo sale vehicles for most businesses, especially the MC businesses, and more time for the Dune sale mission for the bunker. I'd be inclined to agree. I think the best way to go about that, maybe potentially update the existing businesses to be able to purchase a vehicle for that solo sale, so it might be something that makes sense from a lore perspective as well from Rockstar's perspective, to kind of like entice people to spend a little bit more money. It would also kind of be a nice additional upgrade, and I think it would go a long way, especially now with the ability to sell in invite only sessions. A move like that would make total sense. Post-up events will probably still be a thing, but you know, maybe a little upgrades to existing vehicles that you're able to do, and you know, maybe give them a little bit of a spice of life, if you will. Wouldn't be a bad thing at all. The interaction menu has a bit of a bug that's been going on for a while that I want to highlight. Sometimes when you open up your interaction menu and you would like to select your CEO or your MC to start that, it sometimes kind of bugs out and just moves about, and you have to turn it off and on again until you can actually use it, and then find out that the session is full and you can no longer become an MC or a CEO. Speaking of that, please increase the amount of people that can become a CEO or a MC president in the session. This might be a limitation to the game itself or the engine or whatever, but if there's any way of increasing that number, that'd be greatly appreciated, because oh my god, it is so annoying to join a public session and every single time you cannot become either a CEO or an MC president. It is really annoying. Some suggestions were also made about letting us select what type of session we want to do from an in-game menu rather than having to go to single player to start an invite-only session. Another one that was made as well was about being able to select what session you want to go into after selecting your other character. Currently, you're only able to go into a public session, and obviously that takes a long time, and then there's also the issue of you maybe running into some connection issues. So being able to go into an invite-only session right away after selecting a new character might be the best solution to this. It will save a lot of time, and if you then want to decide to go into a public session, you can then select one like you do from the start menu by just simply launching a public session. Much easier that way. The Moore's Mutual Claiming All feature. Yes, I would love to see that come back. It used to be a thing in the game, but then they got rid of it, and now you have to call them about 5 times if you had a few of your vehicles destroyed, which is really infuriating. A feature to invite friends if someone leaves the heist in the middle to continue forward is something that would be nice. An in-progress heist joining option would be nice, but I doubt that was going to happen, considering the fact that I think everything in GTA Online doesn't really allow you to join an in-progress thing, so I doubt that will happen. In-progress is quite rare in the game. Typically, I think the matchmaking wants to force you to be in a lobby before it even starts. And I think the heists itself are also built around the fact that if someone leaves or dies, it fails. But it'd be nice though. The quality of life kind of thing in there, I guess, is already there for like Doomsday and like Casino and stuff, so maybe? I don't know. Hopefully something like that will be possible. Drew Garcia makes a great suggestion here, which can kind of be summarized to what I would envision as basically making a folder system rather than having hundreds of jobs just in one giant list where everyone just like, okay, there are 7 different versions of this mission, but is there something different about them or no? Instead, I would suggest just making a folder for example, offense, defense, or any other adversary mode, and just being able to click a button if you would like to select a specific map. That way, the list will become a lot less cluttered, and when it comes to the missions, a suggestion would be to sort them by the mission givers like Martin, Lamar, Lester, etc, etc. This minimalistic approach will make it a lot easier to find stuff, as well as to kind of get a gauge about what exactly is available for you to play. Something I was quite surprised with, that it's actually a thing, I'm not entirely sure if it is, but I'm putting it in here anyways just in case, is the fact that snacks get restocked when you go to your last checkpoint saved, but apparently body armor doesn't, which would definitely be something that I would highly suggest making a thing if it wasn't already. Just putting it in here in case that is actually not a thing. Another suggestion here made by Jack was effectively kind of giving a MC, a menu type of thing for your favorite vehicles. At least that's kind of what the idea I'm getting out of this. Let's say, for example, you have the ability of instantly spawning some of your favorite vehicles by just marking them as favorite. That way you can spawn them quicker, find them quicker, and it might even be a bit of a band-aid fix for having to search vehicles. I guess right now we've been able to unfavorite or favorite your contacts in your phone, so maybe a similar option would be nice for vehicles as well. Speaking of labels on vehicles, websites showing you that you already own one of these vehicles would also go a long way. I'm sure it's happened to us before where we suddenly realize, wait, I already had this vehicle, and then you wasted a bunch of money. That way you'll be able to save yourself a bunch of money and potentially avoid a few mistakes. It also helps because it might also save you some time having to customize the entire thing again. The option to hide your cargo on the map like Ghost Organization, but for bikers, that's not an option just yet. So having a quality of life thing where as a biker MC president you'll be able to hide your cargo as well with something like Ghost Organization will probably be a simple yet neat little quality of life thing indeed. The ability to make our very own contact missions has been something that's been suggested for quite a while. It might not happen, but I figured it'd be worth including it in here, considering that we can basically make anything that we would like already anyways. Even something as survivals and the whole 9 yards. Having contact missions with the appropriate anti-cheat things in there, because people will abuse the feature, I'm sure, would be going a long way in breathing a little bit of new life. The majority of people that are going to attempt this are probably going to make something that is not worthwhile playing, but those people that will are definitely going to be making some people very happy, myself included. A suggestion here by Brandon is the ability to call LJT or Mauk to get a bit of a quick breakdown of your supplies and product levels for your own MC businesses, so that way you don't have to go to your master control terminal in the arcade. Another suggestion would also be to order supplies as well through the phone, like we could with the Asset Lab. I think that will go a long way. Maybe include it as well for the Bunker 2, you know, stuff like that will go a long way. You're still spending your $75,000 on your supplies, so Rockstar doesn't have to fear about people, you know, not spending it. It will just make that little bit of more smoothness and consistency like we have with the asset business. New custom interiors for garages and 10-car garages like we have with the 50-car garage. It will go a long way indeed. I think the smallest suggestions I would have was for the CEO office garage. Maybe being able to change the look of individual floors for that would also be quite cool. And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. If you have any other suggestions, make sure to put it in the comments down below. Subscribe for more, and if you like what you see on the channel, become a member like Chloe and GTA Plus. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.